Today we are taking a look at a military family that lives in 2 different locations. They have 2 kids and they have a lot of different savings goals and not really sure what to do considering they have to pay for 2 different houses and 2 different grocery budgets. Here's how I would rework their budget to hit their goals. Hey guys, it's Justine, your host of the Debt Free Millennials channel, where we learn how to crush debt, achieve financial confidence that leads to more fun and less payments. If you're into that lifestyle or want to achieve that lifestyle, go ahead and join the family by clicking that red subscribe button so you never miss another notification or video from me. Let's go ahead and get into this episode of Millennial Real Life Budget Review. All right, so the background on this family is we have a husband who is in the Army. Thank you for your service. And we also have an 8th grade teacher. They live in 2 different places. So the wife and kids live in Colorado Springs, which I love. I love Colorado Springs. Actually, side note, that is where we eventually want to move to. And her husband is currently in El Paso, Texas. So he will be living there for the next year. He has an apartment through the Armed Force YMCA. Very bare bones, but it's $600 a month, and so it's manageable with their budget. They have no debts other than their mortgage, which is awesome. However, the one thing that they are struggling with is determining what goals they should be saving for and how much they should be saving for those goals. So she said that she didn't work full-time until she moved to Colorado Springs, so now they're really at a point where they can start increasing their savings. So for the next year, they're going to be balancing 2 different households. So 2 different, a mortgage and a rent, and also 2 different grocery budgets. And they want to know if they're budgeting enough for each category or if there's too much. And also the spending includes her husband making the trip from El Paso to Colorado Springs once a month. Their top financial goals includes saving for a car, saving for vacation, and then maybe decreasing some spending in categories in order to fulfill those needs. They also have $15,000 in an emergency fund set aside in a high yield savings account that's currently earning 5.15% interest. I have a hunch that your high yield savings account is with Wealthfront, but let me know in the comments if it's with somebody else. I want to know about it. This family also has 3 dogs, 14, 10, and 2. So we might see some expenses coming from their older dogs soon. And they also have somebody who comes in to let their dogs out during the school day. It's $20 a day to let their dogs out, which ends up being very expensive, but one of those things that's necessary. And so I'm curious what kind of service you're using for that, but let's go ahead and get into their budget and see what's going on. Here's a look at inside their budget. They're bringing in $9,800 in income every single month, and she also mentioned in her application form that her salary is going to be increasing this fall by an extra $400. So really we're going to be playing with about $10,200 in combined income, which is fantastic. Now, she said the mortgage was the only debt that they have, which is amazing, 2.5%. They must have bought in 2020 because this is an amazing interest rate with a total mortgage balance of $471,000. So she did mention that they have the $600 rent, and so I'm curious if the $3,300 is inclusive of the rent as well. If not, I would add another row here, and then I would just call this rent of $600, and then this would be the mortgage payment. So just let me know, or for yourself, make sure that you split that out, because I think it's important that you track each of those separately. But I don't know, maybe rent, mortgage, you just want to roll it into the same line item. Okay, so cell phone was $100. I'm assuming that's for you, your husband, and your boys. She did say that her kids are older, 10 and 13, so perhaps they already have a cell phone. If that's truly for 4 data plans, that's amazing. The internet is $101, which seems a little high. Groceries, holy cow, $1,200 a month. So it doesn't surprise me that it's on the higher side because you have older boys who are prone to maybe eating a little bit more, and also because your husband lives in El Paso and he's having to buy maybe duplicates of things that you typically wouldn't, such as condiments or hamburger meat or cereal, any of those things where it's typically a shared food item for the household, you're probably doubling up on that. So $1,200 actually doesn't surprise me here, and that's okay. Also, I'm seeing a net of $1,244 already, so already your budget looks amazing. Okay, here's where we get into some of the nitty gritty. Gas, $400 makes sense. Car maintenance, car insurance, $183 a month. I'm guessing you're insuring 2 vehicles, and if that's the case, then actually that's not too bad. If it's 90 bucks a month, yeah, not too bad. Utilities, $347. Again, I want to make sure that your budget, because even though you're living in 2 different cities, I really want to make sure that your budget is inclusive of both locations. So I want to make sure that your utilities for Colorado Springs and utilities for El Paso is reflective inside of your budget. Because it's you and your husband doing your finances together for the next year, I want to see a breakdown of that inside of your budget so you know exactly where the money is going, so you know what you're working with. So you did say that your dog expense is going up. Pet sitter that visits daily, $500. Now, I know that she mentioned in her application during the summer months when she's off from work and from school and the boys are home for summer break, they don't need the pet sitter. Come fall, this is something that they are adding into their budget. And so I just want you to double check that going rate of $20 per day is actually the best that you can do. A great service to look into is Rover. It's an app that you can download that has verified pet sitters that are in your area that can come over and do the exact services that you're talking about. So I would just do some price checking and make sure truly $20 a day is the absolute like going rate for what you're wanting for your dogs. And I totally agree. Your dogs definitely need somebody to come over and let them out. If you guys are doing activities and whatnot, I agree. This needs to be an expense. Also, because you're debt-free, you get to have a little bit more fun and be intentional about your spending. I talk about intentional spending a lot and how that spending should be reflective of your core values. If you really value pets and animals in your life, I'm thinking of my best friend who's like obsessed with animals. That's one of her core values. That speaks to her. If she didn't have animals in her life, like she would not be who she is. And that's where a lot of her money goes. She values that. If you value that too, if you value your dogs and they're part of the family, then this is totally okay. Let's go down to your fun money spending. So we have restaurants of $200, which is actually pretty incredible. Also considering your grocery budget is a little bit higher, makes sense. Shopping, clothing, you're doing really great. Piano, trumpet lessons, love, $130. Fun money of $800. Tell me more. We each get $400, but it covers haircuts, color, Botox every 4 months, go, plus any random spending. Sometimes fast food will come from this. No problem there. $800, I mean, $400 for your fun money spending is a lot. You did say it covers haircuts, color, Botox. I'm curious how much those expenses are if you were to break them out, and then truly what that random spending allotment is. I'd just be curious, maybe try breaking out that spending just to see. And also for you, you're in a really good position financially because you're debt free and you guys have an income that supports your lifestyle. I'd just be curious if you could track that fun money spending for the next 30 days to really see, are the things that I'm spending money on reflective of what I truly love? Do I love it? Am I buying this because I'm bored, or am I buying this because this is something that I really, really love? Those are some questions that I would ask yourself over the next 30 days and really track out that fun money spending very closely, because it is on the higher end, and that's okay so long as it's intentional spending and not something that you can't even remember when you pull up your bank account and you see a line item for $56 to Target. You're like, what did I even buy? Be intentional about that. Okay, subscriptions of $144. Let's see what this is. Peloton, Apple, Peacock, Disney, Netflix, Cinemark, movie. Okay, cool. This is fine. Boys allowance of $10 each per week. which is adding up to around $100, give or take, 4 or 5 weeks out of the month. So $100. So they each get $50 a month, it looks like. Cool. Miscellaneous expenses that may come up, such as vet, school expenses, sports. $200 seems like a lot. I feel like you could plan that out better by looking at your kids' schedule of events and their calendar and see what kind of sports activities, extracurriculars that you are planning for, especially come this fall. School expenses, we all know that July, August are typically busy times and bigger times for school supply expenses. So I would just maybe tweak the budget for those particular months and then plan ahead as much as possible. Especially if you have your older dogs and you know you're on a schedule with your veterinarian, add that in. You probably already have a good understanding of how much those vet appointments are, so you can add that in those particular months or save for them monthly as a sinking fund. Speaking of sinking funds and future expenses, let's talk about your emergency fund. So we have $15,000 in a high yield savings account. Should we keep adding to this or fund other goals? Okay, here's the thing. We need to figure out exactly what that basic living expenses are, which is everything up here in your fixed expenses. So let's see. All right, $6,700 is what's needed potentially. Let me take this out. $6,100, because I truly don't know if that mortgage line item was inclusive of your rent payment, so I'll just take that out. So let's call it about $6,000, and a fully funded emergency fund is equal to 6 months of living expenses or more. You can have anywhere between 6 months to a full year's worth of living expenses. Personally, my husband and I have about 6 months of living expenses set aside in a high yield savings account for our emergency fund. So for you, actually, your emergency fund truly should be around $37,000. This could change once your husband actually goes and lives in Colorado Springs with you and you guys stop doing this dual living location. But I would say you're definitely halfway there for your fully funded emergency fund. So yes, I would say your goals, it would be increase emergency fund to $37,000. The good news is you have a ton of money left over in your budget in order to cover that. So I would literally put everything towards that emergency fund right now so that we can have it fully funded and knocked out for you. And the emergency fund really truly is to cover any emergency expenses. And I think for you, I mean, your husband has major job security being in the Army, and also for you too, I think as a school teacher, there is a lot of job security there as well with those two occupations. But let's view this money as, oh my gosh, the car is imploded and we need to figure out what to do with a replacement car, or our kids got sick or injured ourselves, we got injured, we're sick, we need cash to get us through. I would be curious if you had $37,000 set aside in a savings account. How would you feel about that? Would that feel amazing? Would you feel financially confident, stable, secure? I'm betting you would. So that's why I would really focus on increasing that to the full 6 month amount. So for you, let's take a look at this, just calculating, get the old calculator out. So we need $22,000 more. If we were contributing $1,800 a month, it'll take you about a year to get that fully funded emergency fund. So that's totally fine because you're still adding to all your different investing accounts right now. We didn't change anything in your budget. Also, let's talk about if you truly had the increase, when you get the increase, $10,200. Let's add another $400 to that, so $2,200. Let's see. So 22,000 divided by 22,000 divided by 2,200. 10 months. So 10 to 12 months. I'm going to add that at $18 to $2,200 a month for 12 or 10 months, then done. Then you're done. I would say that's your next biggest priority financially, is getting that done. So for the next year, this is what you guys do. And what's amazing about this is you guys are fully funding the emergency fund while you're living in 2 different locations. So after that, your husband gets to join you in Colorado Springs, and then we really get to skyrocket your financial goals. So I would say keep everything where it's at. You have an IRA here of $500, that's fine. If you feel like that car fund goal, you really want to increase that at a faster rate, then I would temporarily decrease some of the investing amounts here, and also maybe take a hard look at your fund money, because I feel like these are some easy areas that we could cut and then add into that car fund. For the car fund goal, I definitely want you to check out my car savings video and how to get started with that step by step. I will link to that up here in the cards for you to check out. You'll want to make sure that you have an understanding of what car that you are looking for, or different makes and models. Really narrow it down to maybe like 3 to 5 different makes and models. I love using Consumer Reports and Kelley Blue Book for this purpose, for my research purposes. Consumer Reports does require a subscription, but you can just go month to month, use it for 30 days to really get an inside look at some of the safety features and ratings and reviews, and then cancel your subscription. I find just having that research and knowledge armed ahead of time before I'm going into looking at private party offerings or even used car dealerships, that I just have a better understanding of what I'm getting myself into. Also, you can look on Kelley Blue Book to get an understanding of what the value is, or what the price point is for those particular vehicles that you're looking for. Then you can more accurately save for that particular car. To give you an example, my husband and I really want a Jeep Wrangler, and Jeep Wranglers on the high end, brand new off the lot, can be $60K plus. The older models can be anywhere between, $10,000 and $12,000. So really, what kind of Jeep Wrangler are we looking for? We're looking for a slightly older model, maybe like 5 to 8 years old, that's got relatively low miles. We're looking for, soft top versus hard top, 2-door versus 4-door. So then we could get a better understanding of exactly how much that particular car was going to cost. So we had budgeted for about $40,000. Now, a $40,000 car is a lot of money to save up for, especially in cash, but so worth it, so that you can get out of financing, out of paying an interest rate, especially now because the used car market is just gone bananas since the pandemic, and we're paying higher interest rates for that. You don't want to do that. You just want to pay for the car and be done. This is exactly how I would work it for you as well. Let's see, goal 2026. Okay, so we have about 3 years for your particular goal. So I don't know how much you are. Goal 20,000. Oh, our son will turn 16 in 2026. We plan to give him one of our cars and purchase a new vehicle, likely pre-owned. Okay, so she wants to do 20,000. Okay, let's just do the quick math here. If we're doing 150 for the next 12 months, then you'll have about $1,800. And maybe you can find some other areas of your budget. I'm looking particularly at the fund money spending that you could add to it. So let's call it you get $2,500 saved for your car within the next 12 months. So if you have a goal of 20,000 minus the 2,500, we need 17,500 left to save up for your car. This is the amount in 12 months from now that you'll need to save. You'll be done with your emergency fund savings. So we'll have 2,200 plus the 150. So we've got 2,350 going towards that every month, 7 months. So we're talking about literally 18 months from now, you would have your goal of 20K saved. So it would be car fund, let's call it like $200 a month for 12 months. Then it would be the $2,350 per month for an additional 7 months. And then you would have it completely saved up for. Done. I love this for you. Look at us hitting your goals. Okay, what's next? All right, the next thing they said was saving for a vacation. It looks like she wanted a goal of $6,000. Let's see, she would have about $1,200 in the year if she was still contributing about $100 per month with her budget the way that it is. Again, we could cut some places where maybe the investing is not as high. She did mention Roth IRAs that she wanted to max out, and I'm curious because your take-home pay is increasing, I'm curious what your combined income is, because I don't want your income eligibility to go over for that Roth IRA. And if you're interested and curious about the ins and outs of Roth IRAs, I will leave a link up here in the cards for you to check out that video. I would make sure, I would do emergency fund, car fund, because that feels like very specific. The vacation fund is just like a nice to have. So this is where you could really take some of that fun money spending or any kind of savings that you would get from maybe switching your pet sitter to somebody on Rover, or maybe saving on that and moving it towards the vacation fund. So if you're doing $100 for the next year, you're gonna have $1,200. $4,800 is what you're really going after. So, I mean, shoot, if you did $500 a month, if we were just to shave some things off here, then we could get that funded in 9 months. But what I want you to think about truly is like vacation vacation money takes is last and takes the least for now. Okay, so this is kind of your order of financial priority is let's cover our foundation of a fully funded emergency fund. Let's get that car fund knocked out because that's really coming up soon. And then whatever's left over, if we have money left over in our budget, we did really well on grocery spending 1 month. We found ways to cut costs. We didn't actually use the full $800 in our fund money. All of that leftover can go towards the vacation fund, if that makes sense. That way you feel like you're getting the best of both worlds. You're saving simultaneously for these financial priorities, but there's still a hierarchy of your financial goals. All right, so that was a look at how I would rework this military family's budget that is living in 2 locations for the next 12 months. I think they have a fantastic budget. They're doing so well on a lot of different categories, and a couple of tweaks could really move the needle on some of their bigger financial goals. If you would like your budget reviewed anonymously here on the channel, be sure to fill out the Google form below. The more information and detail that you can give me, the better recommendations that I can give to you. If you want to take this further and you feel like you really want somebody to help guide you and up level your financial journey, be sure to check out my coaching program linked below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to join the Debt Free Millennials family by subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.